All right, so today I am joined by the amazing and fabulous Kit Williamson. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. So tell me, how excited are you that Unconventional has finally premiered on Revry?
I'm so excited that the show is finally getting out there. We've been working on it for years now. It's been a very long, windy journey for this independent queer television show. And I'm so happy that it's found a home in Revry. And they've been just incredible to work with. So it's incredible that people can watch the show for free too, with
Exactly.
ads on Revry's, just on the app on Revry, which can come on any smart TV. Or you can watch the uncensored version on their SVOD platform if you subscribe.
All right, there you go. Well, how have the initial reviews been so far?
It's been really wonderful seeing, people who'd watched East Siders reaching out to me and kind of talking about how they relate to the show or things that they liked about it. I really love having a direct line of communication to the people that enjoy my work. That's something that has been incredible about the internet.
Mhm.
And East Siders started out as fan-backed Kickstarter funded project.
Mhm.
So that's always been something that I look forward to whenever something comes out, is finally getting to talk to people about it.
Exactly. And I remember back in it was like I think 2012 or when Eastsiders was on, I interviewed you when I worked for Vital Voice magazine in St. Louis. So seeing your growth and evolvement and just like seeing this show now is like, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. And so what can audiences expect with Unconventional and how did the idea for the show come about?
So Eastsiders, so Unconventional is in many ways a spiritual successor to Eastsiders,
Okay.
where Eastsiders is about being a gay mess in your 20s. Unconventional is about being a gay mess in your 30s. And it explores the questions that arise in any long-term relationship, but
Mhm.
that are unique to the queer experience, because all of the conventional roads laid out to us in terms of starting a family
Mhm.
are, not, we don't fit the mold, so we have to forge our own paths.
Mhm, definitely. And you wear multiple hats in the show, creator, director, and star. How do you balance those roles and what challenges did you face while making the series?
To me, they're all part of the same pot. I'm always considering things from an actor's perspective when I'm writing, because I have a background doing both. And I started out directing really out of necessity with East Siders. I wanted to be the person whose fault it was if we didn't finish it, because I
Mhm.
had been part of so many micro budget projects in LA that never saw the light of day.
Yeah.
And I view the director's job as being the person on set who cares the absolute most
Mhm.
about
Definitely.
every little detail, and that's always been a joy for me with these independent projects, to kind of wear all the hats at the same time.
Okay, perfect. And this cast is stacked with incredible talent, including Kathy Griffin, Beau Bridges, Tuc Watkins, Willam. What was it like working with such a dynamic and diverse ensemble?
This cast is absolutely a dream. Our core cast is made up of entirely queer actors inhabiting queer characters. We have an entirely queer core leading cast, which I think is very unusual and wonderful. And then people like Kathy Griffin and Beau Bridges coming on as allies
Mhm.
and Dana Wheeler Nicholson, who plays my mom in the show, who I absolutely love. Coming on board to, lift up this show with their star power because they believe in it and also because they love our community.
Yeah,
Want to see our stories get told and recognize that they're not getting told through traditional means.
exactly. And this is the first show to cast Kathy after her cancellation. Is that correct?
That is true. She's been in some things since we cast her, because
Okay.
that's how long it takes to make an
Mhm.
independent television series. We were the first acting job that she had post cancellation, and it's been incredible to see her resilience
Mhm.
and the way in which she has defied the quote unquote cancellation.
Yeah.
Um, I think she's such an inspiration, and so we should all be modeling our lives after
Mhm.
Kathy Griffin.
I agree, definitely. I mean, Unconventional comes at a time where stories about marginalized communities are more important than ever, and you have been hailed as the future of LGBTQ plus storytelling. How do you see queer narratives evolving in Hollywood, and what still needs to change?
I think we've made incredible progress, but in recent years, we've been backsliding.
Hmm.
with the Glad Media report, we are down to pre-2020 levels in terms of representation. And they're really just measuring numbers, right, on streaming, cable, and network television. And that's not really a way of analyzing substance,
Yeah.
right? Are there queer characters, or are those queer characters centered in the story? Are they allowed to be, are they given agency as characters and as people, or are they set dressing?
Yeah.
And I think that as a community, we have always taken charge of making sure that our stories get told, whether traditional media companies are interested in funding them or not.
Yeah.
And I'm part of a very long tradition that goes back to before I was born, in terms of making sure that we're represented on the big screen and the small screen and stages around the world.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm grateful to the people that came before and the paths that they have blazed. And we might have to, we might have to burn some trails ourselves.
Definitely, I agree. And many mainstream LGBTQ plus stories tend to focus on like coming out or tragedy, but unconventional embraces the complexities of queer adulthood, like you said. So why was that specifically important to you?
I think that often we end our stories with happily ever after.
Mhm.
And this is a show about long-term queer relationships and the challenges that people face growing in over the course of years together. The series takes place over the course of 9 months, with each month jumping ahead a month in Eliza's pregnancy as we get closer and closer to this baby coming into the world and changing all of their lives and relationships forever. That kind of story, I think, is still very rare to see.
Definitely.
Um, very rarely are our stories centered.
Mhm.
Uh, and we've seen this incredible rash of cancellations and literal deaths of characters and shows over the last few years during the last administration.
Yeah,
Uh, and I think we as a community know to never put our guard down, you
definitely.
know,
Mhm.
and that's something that is very top of mind for me right now as we go into what is undoubtedly a 4-year assault on our community's rights,
Mhm.
starting with the trans community,
Yeah.
which we all need to stand with right now,
Mhm.
against the way in which they are being attacked.
Mhm. Definitely. I agree. Have you always felt this responsibility to push representation forward?
I think so. I mean, I grew up in Mississippi and queer television was so important to me,
Mhm.
finding those kind of sparks of possibility, thinking it enabled me to envision what my life might be like.
Okay. Mhm.
And flash forward now to me as a full-grown adult in my 30s, so far exceeded my hopes and dreams for the future.
Mhm.
My husband and I often say to each other that being gay is the best thing that ever happened to us. And I didn't feel that way as
Yeah.
a kid growing up. Quite the opposite, in fact. But it was through the power of storytelling that I was first able to sort of envision a light at the end of the tunnel.
Definitely, definitely. Well, what else do you ultimately hope audiences take away from Unconventional?
I think that we're all just trying to get through life to the best of our abilities
Yeah.
and to be compassionate with each other and to lead with love, because ultimately that is in my agnostic view what we were put on this planet to do,
Mhm.
is to love one another, to create community, and to practice kindness.
Definitely. Now, Unconventional is also it also marks Revry's first foray into original programming, right?
Yeah,
How
we're our
significant is
the
that?
first long form scripted series.
Yeah, how significant would you say that is?
I think it's incredible that we have a LGBTQ streaming platform created by our community for our community, and that they're putting forward stories like Unconventional, which are authentic and unapologetic representations of the queer experience.
Mhm.
Um, we don't have to worry about being palatable to a straight audience. We just have to worry about telling a good story that resonates with our viewers and our audience. And I'm so grateful to have partners that are on the same page as far as that.
Right, exactly. So can we expect a season two?
We'll see. We'll see. I tried to write every season of Eastsiders in a way that would make it hopefully satisfying if that season was the last season. And that's something I think I'm just going to continue to practice in this often volatile industry where you never know what's around the corner. I think one of the biggest disappointments that I've personally felt as a viewer of queer stories over the last few years is how many of them get cut off abruptly
Yeah.
without closure.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'll always keep in mind in my work because you never know what tomorrow is going to hold.
Exactly. So do you already kind of have a kind of know a direction you would like to see the story go in?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Well, then who would you love to be involved with the series if it does continue?
Oh gosh, maybe because she's top of mind, but I've also said this every single time anybody's ever asked me this in an interview, which is I would cut off a limb to work with Parker Posey.
Okay,
She's from
okay.
Laurel, Mississippi, right around the corner from where I'm from, and I've absolutely been obsessed with her since Party Girl and Waiting for Guffman, through her incredible turn in White Lotus, which if anybody's not watching, you got to watch for her alone. She's a genius.
Definitely. I agree. She'd be amazing. All right, Kit. So, is the whole series on Revry right now, or is it come out
It's
every?
coming out weekly. So the first three episodes are out as of today, and we'll be releasing an episode a week for the next 6 weeks.
All right, and how many episodes are there?
9 episodes total.
All right, perfect. Well, how can one stay up to date with you?
Well, you can follow me everywhere at Kit Williamson. I'm on all the things, and if a new thing comes up, I'll try to get on that too. We'll see what social media platforms are not evil in the coming years.
Exactly. Yes. Well, then, before we wrap up, are there any other upcoming projects or anything else you'd like to mention or plug at this time?
Well, I'm just excited to focus on getting the show out there, getting it out there internationally. I'm so happy with the response to the show, and I'm glad that people are connecting with it.
Definitely fantastic.